Scooby Doo. What's going on? Yeah, how's everyone doing? Champagne Sharks. Like, comment, share, subscribe when you pop in. That's always the first thing to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're gonna have a good time tonight. How's everyone been liking the daily streams? Y'all sick of it yet? We're trying to get. I'm open to suggestions. What's the best way to like? I mean, I guess the best way is to just break this down into short clips. As far as increasing shareability, like these always end up like so long. But yeah, that reminds me of something. Something that we if any of y'all have video editing skills, you watch this thing, you like it, and you want to just hook us up with short clips, you like your favorite 5-minute clips, and you know, by all means, send it to us at champagnesharks@gmail.com. Send it over to champagnesharks@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll label them and put them up as short little links on the channel. Because I'm curious about the parts that, as an audience member, you guys like the most. Because I feel like judging my own stuff or our own stuff to choose what the best 5 minutes are. It's kind of funny. The parts that you think are going to be the best aren't always the parts that actually resonate with people. So by all means, if you watch this and or any of our videos and there's a part that you really like and you feel like just making like a 5, 10, 15-minute excerpt for us, by all means do that. Send it to champagnesharks@gmail. We will definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother saying. It never ends up well, actually twice it happened. Yeah, I gotta stop saying it's gonna be a short one. Yeah, I mean, my favorite is Victims of White Supremacy with Neely Fuller. They always cut it short. Yeah, so anyway, I'm not even gonna say it's gonna be a short one. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because it never works. But hit the super chat if you're enjoying the stream. For people who always complain that we take too long to get started, then just jump to the 5-minute part if you're rewatching this, because some people always get mad that we don't get to the point. But we gotta pay the bills, so it's up to you. Skip ahead. But yeah, hit the super chat if you're enjoying the stream, and go to champagnesharks.com if you want to see all the links. But also another way to support us is to hit us at Venmo or Cash App at Champagne Sharks. You can always hit us there. Just go to your Venmo, go to your Cash App, enter Champagne Sharks, and support us there. Or go to PayPal and hit us on PayPal. The email is champagnesharks@gmail.com. Or you can use this link, paypal.me/Champagne Sharks. All of that helps us pay for producers, editors, equipment, things that we use to help record, and also, of course, bills and student loans and all that good stuff. So definitely do that. And we have the payment information at the bottom. If you enjoy what we do and the service we provide, then by all means, consider it. And without further ado, what has happened today? Struggling through the Netflix crack documentary. Why are you struggling? Because it hits too close to home, as far as like how painful the subject matter is, or because it's just not well done? Because in general, I don't trust Netflix produced stuff. They always make things kind of boring and drawn out. Yeah, real talk, real talk. Contribute to the student loan forgiveness fund. Rita, how you doing? Yeah. Hey, Cameron. Hey, Lil Miss. Revolution, GW, Lil Miss. I said you ready. Revolution. David Gonzalez. Hope everyone's doing okay. But yeah, the take is too typical and predictable, and didn't learn anything. That's the way I felt about their Netflix thing about the social media. That was the same thing. Like if you watch a 2 or 3 hour Sam Vaknin video on social media on YouTube, I think it was way more hard hitting and better. Oh, that's true. Uncle Joe is talking about shaving a whole 10K off the student loan, so everything should be okay. Forget about it. I don't need any help anymore. Uncle Joe's got me covered. Thank goodness we got him and not Bernie, who was talking about forgiving everything. Thank God we got him. I mean, I'll take it, but shit. Anyway, something interesting happened on social media today, as always. But this one is about um, Netflix strong black lead. I never really fully understood what strong black lead is, but I know it's like Netflix has this kind of initiative where they call it strong black lead, and today's strong black lead did something that I thought was well, not just me, a lot of people thought was pretty tacky. And this is what it was. And I'm going to they deleted the tweet, so I have to like put several things together to so I'm gonna put it up right now. Hopefully the audio works, right? But this is what they put up. This is what they put up. Was Cuties under strong black lead? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't know if Cuties was under strong black lead. But let's see. It was in the past when I've tried to put on QuickTime and play QuickTime in here, the video didn't play for you guys. So hopefully it works this time. But tell me if you can hear the sound. If you can't hear the sound, I have another way to do it. But this is it. They put this thing up, and this is how it goes. Let me know if you can hear the sound. Is the sound working? Okay, no sound. Yeah, for some reason off of QuickTime, there's no sound, but I have a workaround. So let me try to work around right now. We're going to try the workaround. Tell me if this works.
That's freedom. He's the black kid in the class. Usually I've been described like a slang term, what a lot of people call is like an.
Now, is it still mute? Yes, still mute. Okay. This time it should work. This time it should work, but just tell me if the
I was a 6 foot tall black kid in Oklahoma. Like I played basketball. That was about what was expected of me there. That's the first thing people saw when they saw me. That's freedom. He's the black kid in the class. Usually I've been described like a slang term, what a lot of people call is like an Oreo, being a white man in a black man's body, stuff like that. I found my interest in theater at around 7th grade. That is my first ever headshot. It was for the first show I ever auditioned for, 12th Night. I was like a really bit part. I had 2 lines and had a sword, and I was like, we arrest you under the name of Count Orsino. That's when I first got introduced to Shakespeare and realized that I loved it. Prior to that, I thought that acting was just like.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. At any point, was that echoing the audio, or did it just sound regular? Was the audio echoing or not? I have a little bit of a delay, so it takes me a while to see your reactions. I don't see your reactions in the real time. So they posted that, and a lot of people were giving the kid grief, but I'm gonna say I don't give him that much grief because he's young. I mean, we all thought dumb things when we were young. You know, we all thought dumb things when we were young. I don't really want to give him. And I mean, to me, the problem is these people who are working in corporate and doing all these things and are black creatives and black media people and talented 10 types when they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and they're not getting over, the Hollywood thing. But to be fair, the whole video is 2 minutes and 2 seconds. That's the first thing. The second thing, and this is pure presumption, but it's what I think. If he's in Oklahoma and all that stuff, I strongly suspect that it's white people telling him that. You notice he didn't specify black people, right? He didn't specify black people, and that was a very small part of what he said. The reason I let it play past that Oreo thing, because it's about the Oreo thing, he said it really fast, and we don't know how to edit it. Vita makes a good point. Is he knows how they edited it, right? And we don't know how they edited it. He might have been talking for hours, and we don't know what they asked him. They might, because I've taken part in interviews. I've seen the interviews be done as well, and sometimes they'll talk to you for like hours, and sometimes they'll ask you questions, specific, and then they'll edit what they think is the most important part of what you said, and also they'll edit out that they were the ones that prompted you to ask that thing. I mean, to bring that up, so it makes it something like it's burning to you, but they might have asked them, so how did they treat you? Because because people have their own obsessions. They might be like, did you have trouble code switching, or we ever called inauthentically black? And then he might bring up, hey, some people called me Oreo, like, but that might have been in response to a very particular question. So I try not to blame him himself that much because I just don't know the context, and I've been taken out of context and things before and seen friends of mine that happened to. So maybe not is his fault, but the fact is they chose to include that clip out of what I'm sure was a lot of talking. The producers, they might have even prompted the questions. Yeah, Vita makes a great point. I used to write questions for docs when I was at Vice. You ask questions to get the info you need to tell the story the producers want to tell. Yeah, and it's funny you said Vice because one of the recent examples I had, she's going to be a guest on the show, is a woman who created a Black women's yoga retreat in Costa Rica, and Vice profiled her, and she was talking about how they talked to her for hours, and then they made her seem like a crazy anti-white black separatist by the time they were done. And she was talking about the same thing that Vita just said, that they asked her like hours and hours of questions, but then they edited out what was pertinent to the story that they wanted to tell and everything. So yeah, I don't know what this means. I don't know what "we on a loop" means. Are you saying that on Periscope you just getting the same thing looped over and over again? Because if so, come over to YouTube or Twitch anyway. Yeah, get off that damn Periscope. Yeah, yes, yeah. Go to YouTube. Go go to YouTube. Wait, if you're on a loop, then how are you knowing what I'm saying? Yo, I'm confused. Oh, you reloaded. Man, Jinx, if you don't get your this dude fixed the problem. Anyway, um, yeah. The so this is what I thought was the pertinent part is this part right here where they go to they deleted this tweet since, but this is what they did. Strong Black Lead tweeted this in combination with the video. So picture this context. There's a 2-minute video with that kid Freedom, right? And in this 2-minute video, they add this caption to it. Let's agree to stop, in all caps, calling other black folks. So other black folks implies that, this is black people doing this, quote unquote Oreo, for showing interest in things that are traditionally enjoyed by white folks. Using the term reaffirms that there are things that we cannot have or do and takes our power away and gives it elsewhere. Hashtag giving voice. Now, this is what I find interesting about that. Like I said, he did not say black people are calling him this. He said a lot of people, and a lot of times like white people say shady things like that. It's a way to kind of put you in a double bind. It's a little racist microaggression. What it is you're black, so you're never going to be a real white person, right? But also, as a white person, I feel like I have the power, so it's a flex, to deem your blackness. And number 3, you're insufficiently black. So it's like a slick little microaggression where it's like you're too black to be white, but also you're not even good at being black. So you really fit in nowhere. You're a nobody, as in a non-entity. You're neither here nor there. Like, not only are you inferior or subhuman, you're not even authentic among the subhumans. The subhumans won't even want you because you're inauthentic. Now, to me, that should be a reason to rant against white people. If you didn't want to take that, snippet and use it because of your fixations to launch into this diatribe because this is your fixation, why talk about it like this and direct it at black people? To me, I think that's a really nasty act of aggression. But these people have all the smoke, really, for black people on instinct, reflexively. It's like a reflex. Yeah. Well, this is the same thing. You're just restating it. Like, you're saying I actually think, but I think it's the same thing. You don't belong in our space, work harder to get back into yours. But the point is that you don't fit into either. That's just a different way of rephrasing the same thing. But you're right. It's like you don't belong in this space and you don't belong in that space. Yeah. So that is so that's the thing that really kind of annoyed me about this thing, and then it's really annoying that they have to always use, and this is the problem with new blacks or black wokes or black creatives or Wakandans or untalented tents or whatever you want to call them. These people are motivated by high school resentments and childhood traumas and unresolved all types of things, which is not inherently a bad thing if you were able to learn and grow past it, because you can bring that to your art. You can channel and come through the other side of the trauma and then use it to fire your art. But these people, they don't want to resolve it. They just want to rehash it, and they don't want to grow past it. They just want some kind of childish revenge or to be heard. They want someone to be able, they want to be able to whine to people and force people to listen to their whining. But this is the problem. They don't really have the talent or interesting enough to make people listen on their own. So that's why all they can really do and all they want to do is get on platforms or get on intellectual properties. There's 2 things they want. They want to get on platforms or intellectual properties that already have a big audience. And then when they get on that platform or that intellectual property, rather than doing what's best for the intellectual property or the platform, they try to make it about themselves because they're like, oh my God, this is my chance. I have everyone looking at me. Now I can finally make people listen to me in a way that they will not listen just based on my own original work or platform or whatever, because I'm not interesting enough, or I don't really have the talent to make people listen. And that's why you see when these like woke people get in charge of things like Star Wars or a Marvel comic or a DC comic or whatever, the first thing they do is try to woke wash it, but and it'll be terrible. And even on those large platforms, like they'll get eyeballs at first because hey, it's Iron Man or it's Spider-Man or it's Star Wars, but or Doctor Who, whatever. But even on those platforms, they'll hemorrhage eyeballs, they'll hemorrhage views, and so even with the layup, they'll somehow manage to mess it up, you know. And it's the same like when they get the social media accounts of big companies. They'll get on these platforms and then they'll suddenly just be talking about, this is why everyone hates black women. Nobody protects us. And it's like, uh, ma'am, this is the Wendy's account. Like, what are you doing? Why are you making Wendy's talk about this? Like, why? It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with anything. Um, yeah, and these people, when they get podcasts, their podcasts are always on the BuzzFeed platform or the Salon platform or the Vox platform, something where they don't have to build the audience. The audience is just given to them. They want to be on someone else's platform. They want to work on someone else's characters, something that has people a captive audience or a loyal audience, and then hijack the platform and then work out their own personal stuff, but they won't even bring the trauma to the property in a way that is, you know, brings answers or connects people or brings solution and enlightenment. And they don't get on the platform of, say, a website and try to at least organically tie it into the corporation they're working for. They just go on there and then just start spazzing out about themselves, uh, yeah. So it's like, that's what I feel like this is like with Netflix. These people become social media managers somewhere on these sites, and they just try to work in their own ridiculous shit. So first off, that was a whole 2-minute clip. They could have talked about support freedom. Here's the socials. People hire him. They could have talked about that. They could have talked about Freedom's favorite play is Othello. What's your favorite play with a strong black lead? Thanks so much, ADOS Truth. Much appreciated. It says hashtag MES is in the digital building. Yeah, so strong black lead. Like, I mean, they could have talked about anything in that 2-minute clip, but to first harp on that one part, the fact that the part even made it to the final cut, I don't even understand why it was in there. And then to mischaracterize it as a chastisement of black people. What's the second reason that they made this message? The second reason, this is what a lot of these people do. They're doing this for their white bosses and white handlers. This is what I think a lot of these people do. I think a lot of these people hit a point where they realize that they're different. Some people hit it early, some people hit it later, but they realize I'm never, ever, no matter how much I listen to the right white music, no matter how much I have assimilated, or I talk a certain way, or I'm into the same stuff, or ingratiate myself, I'm always going to be slightly otherized by these people. And they want to be mad at the white people. And to a certain degree they are, but they can never let themselves be fully mad at them, because ultimately that's where they want to go. That's where they want to be. That's where they're dependent on. It's kind of like how it's hard for a child to be fully mad at their parents when they're a child, because at the end of the day, they still need to depend on them. So children work very hard to constantly rehabilitate the abusive parent, because if they view these parents as their salvation and protection to fully allow themselves to internalize a hatred or a lack of faith in the parent's ability to protect them and nurture them, then that's scary as hell, because that means that I'm a unequipped child all alone in this world. I have nobody. So it's very hard for children to allow themselves to fully grasp the awfulness of their parents, just as a self-protection thing. Um, so what what happens is they kind of realize to a certain point that they're never going to be fully accepted as white or honorary white. Um, so the next thing they have to do is, but they realize they have a backdoor way in. If they could be a Negro whisperer, if they can be the black person, they realize that, you know what, maybe I can weaponize my difference, or maybe I can use this to my advantage. If they're at the end of the day always just going to see me as black and not the special snowflake that I want to be seen as, then maybe the next thing I can do is use that to my advantage and say, hey, I can be your liaison to the black people. That used to happen in colonialism all the time. Like, a lot of colonial subjects used to go to England or someplace someplace where the colonizer was and get educated, and then have trouble with advancement and whatever. But then they'd realize, hey, maybe I can use my colonial subject status as a plus, and they're like, hey, I can help you run this in the colonies. I'm from there. I understand it better than this. And they're trying to like weaponize that difference that's keeping them from full acceptance as a comprador, to go back and run and rule the natives. But of being because of their proximity to whiteness, and because they've internalized a lot of the ideas of blackness, they feel that superior to other black people as white people do. So like white people, when white people join black organizations, they tend to always want to join black organizations at the top or at management. They don't want to come into the black organization and work from the bottom under black people. That, feels beneath them. And they also don't want, if they come in at the top, to do it to teach other people skills so then they can leave, make them self-sufficient. They want to come in at the top and they want the people to be dependent on them or whatever. So they do the same thing. They go back to the black people. First, they use the black people as their way to curry favor, as in, look, you think you see me as different, you see me as otherized, but I can use that to, your advantage. I understand these Negroes. I'm technically one of them or whatever. Put me in charge of the Negro colony, the Negro project or whatever. And then, they do that, but because they low key are doing it out of like, because they have to, and because they harbor this contempt, it ends up showing in everything they do, even as they pretend to respect them. And then that's where crap like this leaks out of, you know um crap like this ends up leaking out of what they do. They keep throwing shade or whatever. But so that's one reason, right? But the second reason is the ultimate goal of this backdoor method is still the primary goal, which is they want to end up being honorary white or equal in status with whites. They still want that seat at the table. They still want that acceptance that they hit a wall on before. So the other reason why they do this is signaling. They want to signal to their white masters and their white handlers or friends or lovers or whatever. They want to signal, you shouldn't otherize me because I'm more like you than I am like them. So at the same time, they're kind of using and weaponizing their Negro status to create little kingdoms and fiefdoms for themselves, where they become indispensable to their white overseers and whatever. And that's their way to kind of get noticed. You know, I can't get noticed as an honorary white person. Let me at least get noticed as the best Negro you have. They're going to use that time to reinforce the original project or the original goal, which is, man, I sure hate these Negroes too, or I'm sure different than these Negroes too. Like, look at how they treat me. You know what I mean? Like, they call me white. It's a way to reinforce to the white people looking and watching that I really do fit into your world. Even my own see me more as one of you than they see me as one of them. So it's a backdoor way to reaffirm that they're snowflakes, that they're different, that they are assimilable, able to be assimilated. They are not incompatible to the overall cultural project of whiteness. So I think they don't really want to lecture black people about not calling them Oreos. I think they want to make sure white people see how bad the black community treats them, and that black people see them as Oreos. And then the white people will not only feel sympathetic to them, but, you know, will take them in. And that's why I think all this stuff is for. They really do it in front of white people. I don't think if they felt no white people were around, they wouldn't be complaining about this Oreo thing, because they don't really care if black people accept them. They don't want really much to do with them either. You know, it's performative for the eyes of white people when they say this stuff. Um, but I want to show like different examples with, like, here's another example that was really annoying. Fader, the magazine Fader, did this tweet in June 2020. This is only a couple months into the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor stuff and all these things. This woman at Fader writes this: asking black women who have been oppressed and brutalized to express their rage in a palatable way and educate their oppressors the same exact way white people ask black people to do. And then she puts this audio clip right in response.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
So
I don't like that.
It's
I don't like.
It's Megan Thee Stallion and someone else saying, I don't like that. So it's asking black women who have been oppressed and brutalized to express their rage in a palatable way and educate their oppressors. In this case, the oppressors means black men. The same way white people ask black people to do. I don't like that. So what she's saying here, what Fader magazine is saying here is that black men, straight black men, are the white people of black people, and they are the oppressors of black women. And like white people do to black people, black men are asking black women who have been oppressed and brutalized to express their rage in a palatable way. You know, so they're saying, you know, that black men are abusers and whatever. And I'm like, Fader is, yeah, Revenge of the Blurs. That's exactly what it is. Fader is a music magazine. I haven't read it in years, but it's like usually like kind of alternative music. It's gotten more mainstream, but they do like alternative and urban music mainly. Yeah, using the hatred for the blackness and escape hatch to whiteness. Yeah, totally. But I'm like, why is Fader tweeting this? This has nothing to do. And I'm like, I bet there's some septum ring weirdo working there who's saying, as usual, I got this platform. Here's a great chance to, I got white people looking at me. This is a great chance to let white people know how bad I have it with black people. so that it's like the different strokes type of thing, or that white mommy and daddy adopted me kind of thing. You know, that fantasy of, like Precious. Remember Precious? When Precious kept dreaming of light skinned people and white people from TV saving her. If they could see how bad the horrible black people were treating her, maybe one of them will adopt her like Mr. Drummond, and she had all these sitcom fantasies in the movie. This is like a version of that. Like, why don't you do this from your own account, right? But anyway, a lot of people kind of got in their ass. You can see all the comments. People like, and again, this is important to see. These are other black women. It's not just like black men, but everything. Homegirl Vita's in here, getting on her ass. You see this one McSquishy. White people are oppressors. Black men haven't power to oppress. Domestic violence, interpersonal violence is not the same as oppression. Call the cops on a black man abusing you, and more than likely he's locked up. But call on a white man doing the same, and you'll easily end up the one in trouble. One has a power structure backing him, and people were like writing in the comments and going in on her, men and women, talking about how ridiculous it was. But what I found really interesting, right? And someone put this, which I thought was funny. Someone put this tweet, and it was hilarious because this sums up how these woke white people work. Because woke white people will a lot of times signal boost this nonsense. But someone put, black women, I need health care and a living wage. White men, nothing to say. Black women, black men are trash. White men, holy shit, are you okay? And you could sub out like white liberals for white men, because I just feel like that's how liberals are. When it's time for something important that actually helps black people and black women in particular, they don't give a damn. But when it's time to signal boost how bad pathological the black community is and why you need to seek shelter from the white one, they love signal boosting those stories. But my worry was that Fader had a black person running the account, and that the black person. So this is what I tweeted at the time. I said, my fear is that Fader has a black person running this account, and it's that black person using that white platform to spread anti-black man slander. And then sure enough, it was confirmed. He ended up tweeting under her real account, right? And I think what happened was maybe somebody told her at Fader, yo, you got to chill with that. Like this is a Wendy's. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Yeah, thanks RP for coming through. Yeah, catch it tomorrow. Yeah, so they're like, yeah, this is a Wendy's. Stop this lady. So she goes, the black woman who runs this account is tired. Again, I'm so tired. And y'all will not make me shut up. LOL. And I love the y'all, the performative y'all, right? And then this guy, Tom Parking, says, you're not quote unquote running shit. You're loaning out a think cover black legitimacy to a white corporation for a check. And then she responded under her real name, and I like that she puts justice for Breonna Taylor in her name. You know what I mean? Like and the reason I find that ironic is because I just feel like they just use, like, I don't think Breonna Taylor would feel this way. Breonna Taylor had a black man who was shooting at the police on her behalf to protect her, and another black man who refused to throw her under the bus, even though it meant a lighter sentence for him. He took the weight. He took the sentence. He's like, you're not going to use me to buy cover. I'm not going to do it for my freedom. Like, if you respect the spirit of Breonna Taylor and what she's about, would you do all this stuff? But these people, they don't really like black men or black women, really, except to the point that they are useful to them, right? Yeah, so she responds under her real name. You're not saying anything I haven't already thought, but when I do it, I'll think in proper sentences. So thanks, but bye. So she's saying basically, you're right about what my life is, but I've already thought it. I don't care about that. I'm not running shit, right? And then somebody goes, so you thought it out and still did it. And then this is what she did. And she's writing in this fake ebonics. Sure did. I've been given a platform and I'm using it. Duh. So she basically admits like she's got this platform and she's gonna use it to spew out her personal issues. And she she's not even self-aware enough to realize she should be ashamed to say that. You know, she is totally fine with it. She's totally fine with it. And as far as I know, I think she's still. I checked her on LinkedIn. I think she's still over at the Fader. She's digital slash social producer, artist, and of course activist. They're always activists. So um, yeah, she actually got a promotion. She has become social media manager. So now she runs everything since November. So she was social media editor, which I think meant from April 2019, where she was just, I guess, writing the tweets. They've actually booted her to the top of the whole social media management and whatever. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they don't care. But she went on the whole day going back and forth. So she goes this. Now, these white people have quote unquote generously gifted you a platform to do what, you think? Advance white interest or black interest? That's what this guy, Tom Parking, asked her next. And she goes, you think you're saying something profound. Most publications are white owned, and black writers have had to account for that every time they've used the platforms for their work. It's a simple fact of life. I'm not going to shut up because someone might profit from my voice. So she basically just says, I don't care if this helps white interests. And if I get this platform and I get a chance to spew my personal trauma and vendetta against black men, I don't care what white people are going to do with that crap that I'm spouting. I'm getting the bag. In this case, the bag is attention. It's not even money. This is what Kenny always says. If you gave these people actual money and real power or a million retweets, they would choose the million retweets. Yeah. So, and like that's the same attitude that goes into like when they get a chance to do social media stuff. And of course, LinkedIn again says activists. Like they always think they're activists and they think this is part of it. And then the guy keeps responding and she's still not getting it. He goes, you keep saying you quote unquote thought it out and quote unquote accounted for that, but you still did it. What's not clicking? And that's kind of like my favorite clip where I say these people, when they show this clip of those kids who don't understand what selling out means, she doesn't understand selling out. She doesn't understand it as a concept. That's why he might as well be talking Latin to her because her mind doesn't work that way. She doesn't believe in anything to sell out. Like she doesn't have a core value to betray outside of attention and clout. So so yeah, that was pretty funny. So yeah, she not only did not get fired, she got a promotion. So I went through strong black leads thing, and I could not find who runs it. I found someone who is the head of the social media department there, and I want to take this time now to break down what strong black lead is. It's very interesting because I didn't fully understand it myself. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what's the value to her of being principled? I mean, self-respect. They don't care about that. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's true. And for all the talk these people do of ancestors, they really don't care. They don't care about having to face their ancestors in any type of, afterlife or whatever. Interestingly enough, she had a Instagram, and the Instagram is gone. Yeah, I wonder. That's interesting. Um, I wonder if she got any heat or something. They made her delete her Instagram because her Instagram was interesting in and of itself, but that's gone. Yeah, so it's a Netflix owned Twitter account, but it's deeper. It's deeper than that. Strong Black Lee is a Netflix owned Twitter account, but it's deeper than that. This is one of the people who used to be in charge of Strong Black Lead, and she was nominated by Root as the Root does this thing called the Top 100, and they call her the patron saint of Black Twitter. And one thing these people do is love trying to act like all these people have a much stronger presence and organic populist following among Black people on the ground than they actually do. So they're calling her the patron saint of Black Twitter. Now, for people on Black Twitter, how many of y'all know Jasmine Lawson? You know, and this is not shade on her. On her, I don't have any problem with her, as far as I can tell. You know, but I always find it interesting how they always kind of exaggerate these people's importance, because that's kind of the project of selling the idea that these people are Pied Pipers of Black people or sheepdogs of Black audience and Black, authenticity. They have to constantly keep saying that and pretending, So this is like a reverse endorsement. When you're in the Route 100, it's almost like a sign you're doing something wrong. You have to reevaluate what you've been doing to Black people. But tell me if there's sound to this. The Route 100. I think she made 17. This is an annual list they do. Hold on. Hold on a second. Should Oh wait. It's not playing. Hold on. Give me a second. Sorry about that. I thought it was playing. I realized it's not playing. Let's try it again. Here we go. Tell me if there's sound.
Family, it's Jasmine Lawson, editorial.
Okay. Is it working now?
Hey there, Root family. It's Jasmine Lawson, editorial manager at Netflix, overseeing Strong Black Lead. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for including me on this year's Route 100. I was so shocked and surprised and honored to see my name on that list. I'm still like number 17, but we're not going to give that energy out there. I'm receiving it. I'm taking it. Feels so good to be amongst such a beautiful, well-rounded, extraordinary group of my peers and people who are doing just the most amazing things to help push the culture forward and to really, ride hard for our community.
This is Ibram Kendi, the one who did Anti-Racist Baby that we talked about with Professor CBS, Charisse Burden-Stelly last night, to give you an idea of who she's sharing the honors with.
Thank you so much again. I appreciate the Root, and I hope that we can continue to have a great partnership. And thank you again so much.
Now, we're building to something, so bear with us. The Root then also does a profile of her. Under Jasmine Lawson's unapologetically strong Black lead, our lives are that much better and blacker. And like, who writes titles like that for Black people who don't question their own blackness? Like, who says things? And Damon Young always writes like this too. Like, this is the blackest thing you know. What doesn't kill us makes us blacker. Is the name of his Blackity Black Black Black. This is how black we are. Except for people who are unsure. This is like when those pickup artists and stuff keep calling themselves alpha. Yeah, they sure do love that word unapologetically. Yeah, they really do love it. Yeah, like an alpha male doesn't have to keep calling himself an alpha male. Like they always love doing that. But Jasmine Lawson is Black Twitter's best friend. Not only is a 29-year-old editorial and brand manager at Netflix Strong Black Lead and Twitter legend, they call her a Twitter legend, pushing the culture forward, she's also making our stories are amplified in the background. And it goes on. Jasmine joins dozens of other influential Black Americans who, quote, ride hard for our community, end quote, on this year's The Root 100 list, and share her thoughts on being recognized by the Root in the video above. So she's a guru of Black Twitter and a Twitter legend, and interesting. A lot of people I know do not know who she is, but so be it. So she's that Strong Black Lead, and she used to oversee the Twitter strategy and have that job and she was a content executive, but now she was editorial manager. Her job has changed since then. Now she is a content executive. That's her actual title, content executive. She manages development and current productions for Netflix. So her previous job as editorial manager, she used to run the Strong Black Lead account. I'm trying to figure out who runs the account now and who tweeted that. She used to oversee all editorial efforts for the Strong Black Lead social channels, in charge of working across the Netflix ecosystem to strategize connection between our Black content, Black creators, and the Black audience who loves and watches Netflix. This is her own description of what she does. Head up marketing and editorial initiatives for our Black titles, including such shows as Dear White People, When They See Us, Homecoming, American Son, and Dolomite Is My Name. Work directly with Netflix talent to produce highly engaged social interviews and content, and so forth. Event lead for all Strong Black Lead industry and tastemaker events. Lead producer for our podcast, Strong Black Legends and Strong Black Laughs. So they have two podcasts. So she kind of created this social media empire for herself within Netflix, a little fiefdom. She created it, and she's in charge of the Black section of Netflix and has created value addition for herself in this segment of Netflix, where she gets to be the Negro whisperer. She brings in she told him that she has access to all this stuff, and as far as who actually runs the thing now, the actual account, because this is below her pay grade now to actually maybe, I don't know, maybe I don't know if she's beyond, but check this out. She retweeted this recently. This is someone else who works at Netflix, and she retweeted, "Hi, I'm looking to bring on freelancers to write for the Netflix film social accounts. If you know movies and social super well, email with some details about yourself when work." So they're looking to hire new people. I don't know. So I don't know who's actually actively doing the tweeting now from Strong Black Lead. And the person that I found that seems to have run it in the past stopped working there as of October. So yeah, I have no idea who actually runs it now. And I just wanted to find out just to get an idea of the person behind the tweeting. But at the end of the day, what you can tell from all this is that the theory kind of holds that I'm not going to speculate on her personal ideology or anything, but I will point out that the strategy of using being in charge of the Black stuff to get advancement and to get a certain type of expertise, I think is very kind of common with these people. Like being the head of Black stuff and being the blackest thing there is. Same thing with Damon Young in his interviews, in his articles, in his in his book title, even what doesn't kill you make you blacker. It's very much about selling authenticity, selling that I can connect you to these people. But again, at the same time, if they emphasize too much a connection to these people, it reinforces the otherizing. And this is a little heavy. I want you to think about this. Okay, you're going to otherize me anyway. So I might as well weaponize that and use that as my come up. So now I have to emphasize just how black I am, how authentic I am, because the blacker I am, the better a Negro whisperer I can be, the better job I can get as the head of black people. But if I overemphasize my blackness and I act super, super black all the time, I'm re-emphasizing that otherness that's keeping me from getting a full seat at the table to begin with. And this is meant to be my backdoor way to get a seat at the table. So they have to constantly signal all the ways that they're special snowflakes. Damon Young has to make sure you realize he's not one of the bad black men. You know, it's not that the stereotype is untrue. The stereotype is true because, you know, me showing that I believe in a stereotype is going to let you know I'm one of the good ones, you know, that I think of black men the way you do. And me writing this article will also show you that even though stereotype's true, I'm more comfortable in your circles. I'm enlightened like you white people. You know, so it's like if you're if you're the colonized native who gets Western educated at the Western University and gets a chance to be the tour guide to the white explorer and the liaison and the native whisperer, you know, when you take the colonizers back to your native village, you kind of have to let those people who are your handlers or your colonial bosses, you have to signal in certain little ways that you don't fully fit in with the natives anymore. You know, if you fit in like too well, then they're gonna think, you know, if and when a revolution happens, we're giving this guy all our secrets. We're letting him really close to the keys of the kingdom. He's like a fly in the wall in important rooms, even though we don't give him any real power. He's still close enough to fuck things up. Is it wise? So you kind of have to show, kind of like how in the Killmonger Gambit, the Wakandans had to show they were willing to kill their king and deliver his body. You know, that was the only way they were really going to be able to play ball with all that power and technology. Yeah. So yes, a native informant versus the village whisperer. Yep. Frantz Fanon talks about all this stuff in the colonial context. We talks about the comprador class and, you know, the colonized Western educated native. But the thing people don't realize is so much of it applies, that colonial dynamic, so much of it applies domestically to what we see here. So, you know, it's kind of worked out for her. People, but one thing these people always do is boosterism. They always get in on different white-owned publications or white-owned organizations, and then they promote each other as other Negro whisperers. So the root is white-owned, and then a black person at the root writes this story about Jasmine Lawson, saying she's the blackest thing ever, blackity black, I'm blackity black, y'all. And she's in charge of the black stuff, and she's the queen of black Twitter. And then maybe, you know, Jasmine Lawson, in exchange for that nice story, might later give her a job at Netflix. It's all this massive boosterism. They're always promoting and hiring each other all the time, and always trying to big up each other as super authentic. It's very smart, actually. It's very good how they so Does Netflix even make money on this segment of the market, or is it just PR? Well, let's get into that. That's a great question. It's a perfect segue. As usual, if you enjoy the stuff that we bring, by all means, please donate. Donation information below, or just hit the super chat. All of it's appreciated. Okay, that was not on purpose to just put that cleavage there, just where it opened up. But here we go. What is the team behind Strong Black Lead wants to bring more melanin to your queue? And that's the Oprah magazine. This is the Oprah magazine article. Who do you think is supposed to be reading this? Oprah magazine. You know, Oprah's core audience is usually like white housewives and flyover country and wine moms and stuff. But Oprah magazine wants to bring more melanin to your queue. And again, they're going to be your Negro whisperers. They're bringing black people to you. This to me is not written for a white person, right? We're going to be your intermediaries, so you don't have to venture into the scary. And we're like the creamers to your coffee, because one thing about these people that like the stuff, they don't really want it too authentic. It's like coffee being black. They don't want it too strong. They need creamers. They want a palatable, and they know it. They don't really want it too authentic. When it's too authentic, they actually don't like it. So they want it just black enough so that they can feel they're getting a taste of excitement, but not so much taste of authenticity, but not so much that it like scares them or is off-putting or makes them uncomfortable. And again, like, you know, these are always stories written by other black people who I think are well in or want to be part of that ecosystem. So they all cover each other, they all cross promote and whatever. So this is another black author here, and it goes, a small group at the streaming service is changing the way black audiences connect with entertainment. This is a new day built from the ground broken by legends, a day for our generation to see untold experiences of our blackness. Those are the first words spoken in A Great Day in Hollywood, a Netflix advertisement that debuted last year featuring black creators. The clip was inspired by the historic 1958 Great Day in Harlem photograph. Now, one of the things that I've said before on streams and in podcasts, I forget why I say, but one thing about content is always based on other things as opposed to work. Content is based on past content and exists to promote new content, or it is always borrowing from, for example, like when you make shows that are based on other shows, that's content. When you do a show that's inspired by real life, that's more likely to be a work. You know what I mean? Or like content, it's like a Xerox of a Xerox, you know, like a photograph is trying to capture reality, but a Xerox of a photograph is trying to capture the photograph. And then a Xerox of a Xerox is even more degraded, you know, like a and so of course, instead of coming up with the unique promotion, they instead just make a clip that's based on another clip, right? And this is A Great Day in Harlem, famous, iconic picture. But the other thing is, these people are real icons who promoted great works and did great political projects and things like that. So this leads to another thing that these people do a lot, which is borrowed emotional response, right? It's Art Kane's classic 1958 jazz photograph, and it's all the luminaries of the New York jazz scene. But this is Great Day in Harlem. It's nothing with content. I brought this up with Netflix Country, how they use Emmett Till and all these other things to kind of hide the fact that their characters are poorly characterized and had no depth. So they just make one girl the best friend of Emmett Till, and she's like a cipher. She's emptying. And when Emmett Till dies, they don't explore Emmett Till. they show how Emmett Till's death affects her, but she's kind of empty. But you almost feel for her without realizing that they haven't earned it at all, because these people can't really write or connect with people like that. So borrow content is always based on other content, it's always derivative, and it's always borrowed emotional response. So you're not supposed to actually feel any real emotion or passion for what you're seeing. You're supposed to carry over that passion from recognizing this classic 1958, but it's also a way to inject themselves in a legacy. So now they are part of the legacy of bebop jazz, something incredibly innovative. This cheap marketing ploy for this organization, you know. I said Netflix country. I'm the king of malapropisms. I meant Lovecraft country. Content creators are more curators than artists. I wasn't looking at the screen. Did the picture of the original jazz photo come up when I was talking about it? Yeah. So did it actually show up? Oh, thank you for the donation, Media Engagement Solutions. Very much appreciate that. Very much appreciate. Okay, great. So it came up, right? So now, and let me know if sound comes for this. It's one thing with me, like I know it's easy to do all the dunking on the tweet and everything, but I feel like when you just dunk on the tweet, to some degree, that gives them publicity. So I'd rather at least use this to talk about a little more depth and context, right? So anyway, it says the clip was inspired by the historic 1958 A Great Day in Harlem photograph that showcased the golden age of jazz musicians. 2018's New Spin, this is 2018, was released during the BET Awards that June, opening with 17-year-old Caleb McLaughlin, star of the Netflix sci-fi drama Stranger Things, powerfully narrating each line. So from bebop to Stranger Things, you know. And here is the thing, and let me know if you can hear it. I don't remember if I clicked the sound, but look at the self-importance in this thing. It's mind-blowing. Just to push Netflix. I don't know why it's not playing. Hold on. Let's try again. Okay, let's try something else. It's not playing on this site. So I'm going to try something else altogether. Hold on. I'm going to go over to Netflix. I'm going to go over to YouTube and try it there. Hold on. Here we go.
This is a new day, built from the ground, broken by legends. A day for our generation to see untold experiences of our blackness, representing a limitless range of identity, playing kings and queens of our neighborhoods, defeating larger-than-life forces, trying to flip our world upside down. We stand up on any stage and every screen. A day when Black women are boldly the lead character, whether inmates or scholars. We're not a genre, because there's no one way to be Black. We're writing while Black, nuanced and complex, resilient and strong. This is not a moment. This is a movement. We are strong Black leads. Today is a great day in Hollywood.
And they ended with the name of all their shows, so you can buy. You see that last piece, that piece of marketing? Yeah, so it would be like if the original Great Day in Harlem had a list of all the jazz albums to buy that came out that were coming out the next month, you know? Yeah, so I mean, that is the craziest borrowed emotional response I've ever seen. But like B. Scott said, they're making this into a civil rights moment. And they not moment, because do you hear what they said? This is not a moment, this is a movement. So they turned this thing into a movement in their words. Yeah, so from Thelonious Monk to Dear White People, Uh, yeah, and thank you. And if y'all like what we're doing, share. Give people the link. Hit it on your social medias. If you're on Twitch, then by all means, host it on your Twitch channel. Let's get more people in here. Let's break 100. Yeah, and get people to follow this. Yeah. So look at this thing, and like I just can't believe they are this self-important. Like they really act like, and all these people when you go into LinkedIn, they put activist in their thing, like content manager, marketer, activist, whatever. Like activist just means I woke wash shit. Woke washing is when you put a woke veneer. People think, hey, I'm doing the same shit that marketers have always done, but I make it sound like civil rights. So that makes me an activist. Like that's what they think it is. So they put a bunch of someone said they gave us films and called it reparations. Yeah. Um speaking of which, I'm glad you said that. I as an example was going through different, tweets that people make in response to this stuff. Because I'm always curious, what are people saying, about all these things, right? And I looked, and I saw somebody actually tweet this. I couldn't believe I saw it. I was ready to puke. So thank you, Gabrielle, for the donation. Someone put they're gonna give us films and HBO deals as reparations, and it's funny you say that, B. Scott, because I saw somebody. I was looking for the reactions to today's Oreo tweet, and I saw somebody tweet this in response to the same thing. It's in 2018 when that video came out, that horribly patronizing video. It said this woman tweeted, "I'm inspired by genius of new black movement. Our people stand. Hashtag strong black leads the hashtag black future. The moment is yours. Hashtag movement black freedom." Hashtag reparations. So this is black freedom. This is freedom. Freedom. This is reparations. That is crazy. That she actually called it reparations. So yeah, there are people without irony who will call stuff like this reparations, which blows my mind. Now, we're gonna go through a lot here because I feel like this is a very good teachable moment. This is a very good teachable moment. Who knew all this time we were marching for more melanin in our queues? Yep. That's the big thing we got from the second wave of Black Lives Matter. There's a black section in every single streaming queue. You notice that now since George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Maud Arbery. Now we get a single line in every streaming service dedicated to black shit. That's what we get everywhere. Hmm. So I'm gonna go back to the Oprah thing. I'm sorry, I had to take a quick break to let it digest. It's not easy to just dive into this stuff all the time. So I had to take a minute to digest. But back to the Oprah article, because I want to give the puff version. This is the puff version. The Oprah version is the puff version. So, going back, so that's what that was. That was their Great Day in Harlem thing. And I'm gonna pull up something real quick to get ready. I want to show a great example of something after this. But you're gonna love what I'm gonna show you next. Let me make sure BuzzFeed still has it. Okay. I have it queued up, so let's go back to what we were doing. Slowly, the camera zoomed out to reveal McLaughlin surrounded by 47 groundbreaking artists, all black, and all who found a home at the streaming service. And it mentions the name. We're not a genre because there's no one way to be black. And again, that's these people's authenticity, anxiety going on. Like picture, the Harlem Renaissance saying stuff like, don't call us Oreos, or there's no one way to be black, or black people aren't a monolith. They wouldn't even do that because they wouldn't even consider the idea that they might be inauthentically black. But these people, they do harbor these thoughts, mainly because a lot of them have been trying to escape blackness all this time and have been forced back into this because they realize it's their only way to come up is being Negro whisperers. And they feel like a certain type of imposter syndrome. That's why Jessica Krug was able to punk so many people in that scene for the lunch money, and by calling out their inauthentic blackness and whatever, because she could spot that imposter thing in them. It was like an imposter spotting an imposter, and she was having fun with it, and it worked. A lot of them wrote about how she made them question their blackness and whatever, yeah. And the profit goes into white podcast. Yeah. So the very notion is the magic sauce behind Netflix strong black lead, a team of black executives at the streaming giant that are amplifying the service's content for people of color. In addition to attention-grabbing advertisements like a great day in Hollywood, they produce YouTube interviews with stars of the most popular shows, put out a regular podcast. They have a podcast now, and they hire other kind of blue checks who write messed up things about black people. So one of the people that they hired for that Netflix podcast wrote a story for BuzzFeed about sexual harassment in hip hop and how black male patriarchy and raping in hip hop in this Me Too era, hip hop has to be next. So that's the kind of stuff for the culture these people are writing before they're getting put on by Netflix. So the Strong Black Lead podcast is done by, and this is an expansion, by doing Strong Black Lead, they were able to expand into content, because that's what these people are. Everything is content. So they hired somebody for one of them, and from what I remember, the person they hired, at least we're interviewing, was writing all types of crazy stuff. Anyway, moving on. Put out a regular podcast and engage with viewers via Strong Black Lead on social media. They respond to fans' theories and occasionally post hilarious memes debunking them. And this is basically a puff piece. But I wanted to show you guys that. Now, what I said about borrowed emotional response, right? Damn. BuzzFeed, for some reason, articles before a certain year all disappear. I don't know, not the articles, but the pictures. I don't know if you noticed this. I had the article ready, but they took all the pictures out of it. So I'm gonna see if I can find it somewhere else. Bear with me. But you have to see this thing. I have to search it out. And the Netflix article that used to have it is no longer there. But you have to see this thing because it's very okay. Black Enterprise looks like it has it. And this is exactly hold on, that's not a good one either. Let's see if this one has the pictures. I don't know why these pictures are so hard to find. I wonder if they scrub them because they're okay. Here we go. Damn, it's scrubbed everywhere. Very interesting. You can tell that this was going to be good because the fact that it's scrubbed everywhere, I think this is going to have to do. Damn it, this thing is scrubbed. They took it down. This is crazy. They took it down. Okay, let's see if I can recreate this without the pictures. This is going to be a little difficult. Apparently, they had enough sense to scrub this thing. But what they did was, and this has to do with borrowed emotional response and the combination of activism and this looks like the best way to find it. Okay. So let's do this one. Sorry for the wait, guys. But here we go. And I want to show you how these people think. Around 2015, around what I call the Great Awakening 1.0, when this stuff first happened, right? The Great Awakening, when the first Black Lives Matter happened, when Trayvon and whatever, and all these social justice influencers could pop in as activists. There was a story, right? This is when Feminista Jones was still popping. This is when people thought like Hillary's going to win easy. It's think peace heaven. We're going to be in this for the long haul. Ta-Nehisi Coates was popping. So it was like an open door for being an activist slash influencer slash creative. And look at the story from BuzzFeed. These women recreated iconic photos from Black history. The hashtag We Are Black History series celebrates legendary Black women. Celebrate Black history, you can't make this up. A network called Style Influencers Group recently commissioned an inspiring photo series of modern Black women posing as their historic heroes. Mind you, this is 2015. Nothing has been done yet as far as getting any payback for any of these people, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, any of these people. This is at the very nascent moments of the movement. Now, I see the image is no longer available. For some reason, everywhere I go, these images are scrubbed. I have to go to a different site to find them. These pages used to work, but all the images are scrubbed, and that's why it took me so long to pull it up. The images shot by photographer Jerome A. Shaw are intended to empower the community, affect change, and start conversations. The project was so important to us because the mission of our collective is to come together and empower each other as people with low representation in the industry. So, of course, about representation, you're supposed to be talking about activism. And this is what these people always do. Like I mentioned yesterday, they always take serious topics and then flip it into representation slash self-promotion. So in the midst of the battle, picture in the middle of the Montgomery boycott, Martin Luther King does a lookbook, or some kind of a photo portfolio, or, is meeting with a talent agency, they didn't just choose any women as models. They chose women who are proudly representing the movement online today. I love that. The influence group is online. We chose these women not only because they resembled Black history icons, which I think is crazy, just resembled, not channeled, not whatever, resemble Black history icons, but because they're working every day to break down barriers for Black people, said Jessica Andrews, co-founder of Style Influencers Group, told BuzzFeed Life. These women are starting viral movements to combat street harassment, reporting on the ground from Ferguson, and fighting for representation for designers of color. And I just love how all three of those are flattened. Like street harassment, based on a video that was racist to begin with, made by a gentrifier. I don't know if you know that street harassment video that, was the face of the street harassment movement, was created by somebody who does work for gentrifier companies, and he edited all the white people out and kept owning the Black people and had them harassing a white woman in a gentrifying neighborhood. And a lot of people called out your past history of working with gentrifiers and doing promotion and development for them. Then you do this video, and one of the solutions proposed by the video was creating street harassment laws, which means it's like a new stop and frisk. Reasons is to not harass people, and that was not very publicized, and that's why the street harassment thing went away, because it ended up being kind of thermonuclear when the racism and the gentrification and weird aspects of the people who made it came out. But so to put that as one of the good things here, I think it's before it came out, but street harassment, reporting from the ground on Ferguson, and representation for designers of color, with increased awareness on social injustice, I wanted us to get together and recreate images of iconic Black women for Black History Month, to pay homage to these women that have paved the way for us. I think influencer wasn't a dirty word yet, so they were being more honest about it. They kept calling them influencers, and they called themselves, the group who commissioned it, influencers. So it's an influencers group hiring Black people that they call influencers as well, as activists who resemble, and this is content this is the purest representation of content. Like this idea that the optics, the representation, everyone wants to start a conversation, but no one wants to finish a conversation. This is the same thing. Everyone wants a conversation, but no one wants a plan, because plans require action. And plans scare people. Plans scare oppressors too. When you have a plan, that's when you're having conversations, they don't care. When the conversation leads to a plan, that's when. So the organizer said each influencer has a personal connection to the iconic woman she's representing. So anyway, the problem is I had to find now the photos, because every piece of coverage I found from this, they removed the photos. But luckily I was able to find some place that for some reason, and it was like a blog, so I think it went below the radar. I had to go deep into the search results to find a place that still had them up. Yeah, very tight symbiosis, cross-platform promotion, but borrowed emotional response, content based on other content, right? So just like that strong Black lead thing took from the old photo from 1958, A Great Day in Harlem, and use that borrowed emotional response. They do borrowed emotional response. First off, they take from other content. So they view that picture as just content. It's a photo to rip off, like they rip off everything else because they can't have any ideas, but also the borrowed emotional response of the moment. So they take artistically, they steal artistically, but then they also steal emotionally. Sometimes it's not always combined. Like in Lovecraft Country, the Emmett Till thing, they borrowed the emotional response from Emmett Till. In that Great Day in Harlem thing, they're taking both the emotional thing and the art thing, right? So anyway, this is where I found the actual photos. So I assume that now you have seen the We Are Black History campaign. Here's what's interesting. Even on the Style Influencer Group's page, they took it down themselves. The original creators, I even went to their page, they took the photos down. So it's only been talked about everywhere from Elle, who has the exclusive. Elle magazine was the first ones who wrote about it, right? But I wonder if they still have. Who knows? I'm not gonna look for the L thing. Okay. So back to this. So this is the picture. We Are Black History. Those pictures right there are all the new influencers. So can you see those pictures? I'm gonna enlarge it so you can see all of them. Now, yeah, Black History with no Black men. You know what it is. That's the new movement. Because black men are not the white people of Black people. So now why we're gonna put them in Black History Month? We might as well put white people in Black History Month, right? When you make Black men the white people of Black people, it opens the door to all types of cool fuckery. And one of them is getting away with not having to include them in the Black History Month thing, right? It's all on who's Instagram. Oh, you have to scroll back to 2015. Okay. Well, I can't do it now, but if you want to email the link, if you want email the link to champagnesharks@gmail.com, then I'll put it up, right? So anyway, um the person who wrote this is one of the people who was involved. Her name is Keela Walker. So she's writing from a first person perspective. After accepting the invitation to participate in the We Are Black History campaign, I was informed I will be portraying Coretta Scott King. Talk about pressure. Obviously, all the women portrayed in the campaign have made significant contributions to Black history, but there's something massive about Coretta Scott King. She's like Black royalty. You can't help but think about Black history without her and a groundbreaking husband, Martin Luther King, coming to mind. Her support of him and the dedication to our advancement was unwavering. I'm not worthy, hashtag. But plus, she's the epitome of sophistication and grace. My God, what a woman. Can you understand why I felt the pressure now? Beyond that, I gotta admit, I didn't see the resemblance and wasn't sure I can carry it off. Welp. Round of applause and standing ovation to the style influencer ladies who had a vision and a dream that carried it through to perfection. Did it ever occur to you to just say no? Like, I would not want to do this if anyone came to me with something like this. So anyway, here's the picture. She recreates this Coretta Scott King photo, right? Then here's the rest of them. Jamila Lemieux portrays Angela Davis. I forget who some of these people are, but someone was portraying Rosa Parks. Someone is portraying Billie Holiday, and they're all just playing these major people. Now they even start stealing moments. So this woman and Feminista Jones now act out Coretta Scott King and Betty Shabazz. And I think this might have been from Malcolm X's funeral. And so, I mean, look at their faces and the type of narcissism you have to do this. To think that you, I mean, this is just incredibly tacky to me. But I mean, even activism is content now. Everything is borrowed emotional response. Everything is spiking the football before you hit the end zone. And it's premature. Like, what are they doing to celebrate this? It is 2015. Nothing has happened. They haven't accomplished anything. Most of these people, you don't even hear about them 3 years later. What puts you, before you even proving yourself and your activism or anything, what makes you so confident you're going to be around that long? To model yourself after people that iconic. And I think to some levels, some things have changed. The fact that these pictures are like taken down all over the place, the fact that people don't even talk like this anymore. They would not be calling things influencers this blatantly now. Like, I think to a point it's kind of become a dirty word. Content's kind of become a dirty word and all this stuff, but they were keeping it real. But here's some more. So here's Keela Walker as Coretta Scott King. Hashtag We Are Black History, styleinfluencergroups.com. There's a link to the original L article. I want to see the L article. Oh, okay. This is cool. The L article, the original L article still has it up amazingly. So Chris said cornier than engagement photos. So let me pull the L article. It didn't come up in the search for some reason. But okay, so this is good. Digital influencers recreate legendary Black history icons and hashtag We Are Black History. Of course, this is for L. We aren't claiming to be the next iteration of these icons, but we do stand on their shoulders. Yeah, you're not claiming to be the next iteration. That's like fake humility. You still painted yourself as them. And I love this first sentence. Look how tone deaf this first sentence of the L article is. Ferguson was burning and hashtag Black Lives Matter protests were sweeping the nation when Alex Felder came to Christina Brown and me with an idea. She wanted to put a spotlight on the positive figures galvanizing our community. People whose sole aim was to be treated with dignity and humanity, much like the legendary men and women who marched in Selma. And she wants to do it by paying homage to our painful yet triumphant history. Hashtag We Are Black History was born. So I just love that. Ferguson's burning, all this stuff is happening, and they say, you know, it's great. Let's get these influencers, not even people on the ground, and give them a makeover and get some content and hire the style influencers group to do it. So anyway, Huffington Post style and beauty editor. Some of these people aren't even actual activists. They're just people who work in media who just throw themselves in here. But now being in media is an activist. Like just being a part of representation makes you an activist. Julie Wilsey as Rosa Parks. Feminist blogger and activist Feminista Jones as Betty Shabazz. Feminista Jones, the one that we talked about recently, who just got canceled for, you know, those incel type tweets about short women only being liked by men because they're easy to control, and they found all these like tacky anti-Semitic tweets about, you know, people smung like Holocaust survivors who didn't make it. And yeah, I mean, real class act. Camille Lemieux as Angela Davis. What do these people have in common, except for resemblance? Except they don't even resemble in half the cases. Natural hair vlogger Taryn Guy as Billie Holiday. You know, no disrespect to this woman, but she's not an activist. Like, and there were more pictures, but you know what? Spend enough time with this. You get the picture. You get the picture. I'm not gonna track down the rest. You get the picture. Yeah. So, somebody sent me the Instagram. Yeah, so if you go on Instagram, they're still up there too on the person's Instagram, and they go back to 2015. But I've already shown most of them. Most of these people aren't even really relevant now, and some of them weren't even relevant even back then. But I want to put that up there to put into context what these people do, and it's a long-standing thing. And you even see it with that strong black lead. That strong black lead thing made me remember that. Whew. Yeah, but everything is kind of flattened. Ferguson and a photo shoot and representation for designers and natural hair. It's all the same thing. It's all the same hijacking. Now, here is the Oprah thing about strong black lead was very much a puff piece put out, you know, by their friend. But this is an interesting article because this one is by a place called Trapital, and it's a place that's about like hip hop and business and influencers. So this one was getting more into like the influencer and business side of it, and it's a little more honest about the whole thing. Netflix strong black lead strategy explained, right? On June 30, 2020, Netflix made two huge moves. It transferred 100 million to black-owned banks and named Bozoma St. John's its chief marketing officer. These announcements came in the wake of George Floyd's murder. Society called on corporate America to do better, which is really how messed up America is. That's their idea, not to end capitalism in response to all this stuff, but you know, ask for our corporate overseers to do better. Like we actually think of them as our protectors and saviors. We think they're our friends. And the video streaming company responded. It was an end of the quarter flex that built confidence with shareholders and customers alike. So I like that he's talking about that this was good because it built confidence with shareholders. He's admiring the business aspect of it, not the civic aspect. This was no surprise. Netflix had recently promoted more black executives, elevated its strong black lead initiative, and acquired more black content. Black subscriber growth has been a key driver of Netflix performance. Customers now expect the streaming titan to be a hub for black culture. So basically, the response to all the injustice and people ask for more from the company, and the company responds by giving money to black banks and finding ways to make more money for itself off of black spending power. Netflix feared missing out on a pivotal moment. In 2013, Netflix was praised for the diverse cast of Orange is the New Black. It was a step in the right direction, but the strategy didn't take off until 2015 when a group of black employees spoke up. From Ben Smith in the New York Times. In the summer of 2015, black employees at Netflix produced a memo and PowerPoint presentation to make the case that the company was missing an opportunity with black audiences. They argued in the documents, which I obtained, that Netflix risked missing a boom defied by Empire at Fox and Blackish and How to Get Away with Murder on ABC. At the time, the memo estimated only about 2 million black households were subscribing to Netflix, 5% of its total subscribers. It said that black households were a 1.4 billion revenue opportunity and that few of Netflix top 100 shows popular across other groups were resonating with black audiences. So this is what I mean about they use their blackness as a way to set themselves apart when they hit a wall, advancing in white spaces. And that's one of the things that happens a lot is people get frustrated with their inability to advance, and then they realize that a lot of times blackness helps. But this goes back to the black buying power thing that we had with Jared Ball, where he talks about black buying power is really a marketing tool. It's not actual real power. The only thing it does is help you make other people rich. It's not something that's an actual real world flex that gets you anything, you know? Oof, corporate activist. Yeah. So the shows often get lumped together, but they tell different stories. Blackish viewers are 20% black, only 20%. How to Get Away with Murder is 31%. They prove yet again that black-led shows can reach the masses. The majority of the viewers were non-black, yet they still brought in more black viewers than most black shows. Meanwhile, Empire's audience was 63% black. So this is one thing I love in this thing. They make a case, right? The black audience values deeper than subscriber counts. The law of the few to grow subscribers. This is also about influence. Let's revisit the Trapital essay, Beyonce's streaming strategy explained. Let's assume Netflix paid $30 million to produce and market Homecoming. According to Financial Times, Netflix customers' lifetime value is just under 200. A 3:1 ratio of lifetime value to customer acquisition cost is a common target in tech. They're doing VC speak. If Netflix wants Homecoming to meet that, the documentary needs to bring in or maintain 450,000 subscribers to justify the $30 million it spent. Homecoming drew 1.1 million viewers on its first day with a 63% black audience. Black people over-index in consumer power. We are 44% more likely to post about our favorite brands on social media, which leads to more trending topics and more earned media. So basically, we are really good at making other people rich. Netflix rarely shares stats, but let's assume that Homecoming was more valuable than whatever. Forget all that. This is a kind of junky analysis, but this is what I love. This picture is supposed to look super analytical and official, and this picture, I just love it. This picture just shows the word Homecoming beehive. It shows 8 people, and then it shows a third column called the masses, and it's just a whole bunch of people with this idea. And this is what supposedly happens with influencers. These people are influencers. You get 8 of them, you know, in your companies, or you hire these influencers, and then suddenly this is the exact Pied Piper strategy that these people try to sell to white people. Now, do you really think they needed blue checks to tell them to watch Beyonce? Do you really think like black people really needed like these social justice influencers and blavity types to let let them know to watch Beyonce on Netflix. I just kind of like it's funny. First off, the picture is funny because it tries to make it look very scientific. This idea that a few people tell a lot of people something and it gets big. But I also like that this thing is cheerleading the the myth because this thing is part of the content and shilling ecosystem, and a bunch of it has a bunch of things in it that it admits it's assuming and making up. And I don't really think a lot of it is actually supported. But it's the pitch that these people try to tell the business people, and the business people don't know enough about a situation on the ground to know that these people are doing what I again say as standing in front of the waves, moving their hands, pretending that they're bringing in the tides, but they're good at that. They're good at positioning themselves at the right place at the right time to take credit for things that they didn't do. So anyway, I mean that's pretty much it. I just wanted to use that thing that they did today with a strong black lead and the nonsense behind it to kind of use as a teachable moment to talk about a lot of things related to that whole ecosystem and what strong black lead even is and what it's about, um yeah, so the whole idea is that they're going to capture this black money, and the fact that they're using actual real tragedies and real problems and kind of woke washing. This is like corporate woke capitalism. They're pretending that taking black people's money and making them richer is not only doing black people a favor, but that it's a civil rights moment on par with Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King and Rosa Parks, but also that it's a creative moment on par with the advent of bebop and the Harlem Renaissance. And finally, they're treating it as a response to real systemic issues, that this is their civic responsibility that they're doing in response to George Floyd or Ferguson and all this stuff. And it's very insulting, but it's also continues the flattening of everything, this excessive flattening of everything. And somebody tweeted, can we talk about how this strong black lead mess in 2018, he tweeted this, is the worst kind of commodification of the black freedom struggle, and they said that in response. Oh, thank you, KBO Viewing, for the donation. Always appreciated. Do not be shy about following KBO Viewing's lead. This is the year of student loan payments because Joe Biden already said that not getting any more than $10,000, and so yeah, he said in response to this tweet, "Strong black lead. Good night. I leave you with greatness," and it's just so annoying. This let them eat cake activism that these people uh, shove down our throats and want us to be grateful for. It's annoying, annoying indeed. And someone made this tweet that I really like. This is one of the last ones that um yeah, and I hope oh yeah, I didn't know this, but somebody said this to me earlier. Someone sent me this earlier. Not insignificant that the Netflix owners / top managers are neoliberals. Reed Hastings, or whatever his name, wants to privatize schools. That's very true. Someone sent that to me earlier on the internet, that Reed Hastings is like a freak for charter schools, and he has a whole neoliberal project that he is totally behind, that he's totally into. I'm a hater. Yeah, that's what people are gonna say when they see this. This will get a lot of thumbs down. Like, why can't you let us just have good things? So yeah, someone tweeted this in response to something I said earlier. I thought it was great. I mean, how many quote black people didn't like me because I liked X things can they write before getting tired? it would be easier to admit that they truly love whiteness and the whole pro-black image is a farce, but they keep dragging it out. Yeah, and I think it's true. And what they're trying to do is they're setting up for the eventual sellout, as in I did everything for my people. Look at my woke capitalism, but I was forced into assimilating and selling out because my people rejected me for being different. And I laid the groundwork for it in all those years of complaining about all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I hope it all connected. I did it on the fly. I know some of y'all don't like when I do things on the fly because they feel like it takes long for me to get to the points and pull things up. And I know the attention span is not always there anymore in this day and era of whatever, but I appreciate anyone who has the patience to put up with all this stuff. There'd be no way I could do this much stuff if I had to actually do a full prep session for every single video, make a tight video. For this daily tweet schedule, for this daily stream schedule we're on, it's just not feasible. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we didn't meander too much and we were able to keep it moving pretty well. And if not, you can always watch it at double speed. And yeah, that's basically that. Check us out on patreon.com so you can get access to bonus episodes. We have a lot of episodes coming. And the Patreon, the podcast, that's where we do more deep dives, less more timeless ideas, more big picture stuff, and not just news of the day or current events or topical stuff. So it's not just duplicative of what you get on the stream. Definitely check it out. Definitely enjoy it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I'm done. Share this with people, comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Comment, like, subscribe, share. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers across platforms. I think the best thing we're going to be able to do for that is to break these things down into shorter clips and tidbits, things that can go viral, things that can be made into videos on Instagram and Twitter. So if anybody wants to help us with that, just when you watch a video, there's a segment of it that you particularly like, by all means, just write us at champagnesharks@gmail.com if you want to just edit it down for us and send it. That's a great thing you can do for us. And also you can hit us at PayPal at champagnesharks@gmail.com if you just want to help us out, or hit the super chat if you're enjoying the stream, or hit us at Venmo or CashApp because at Champagne Sharks, because one of the things that we hope to do, if we're able to get enough money either through the Patreon or through the donations and the streaming, we would like to hire a video editor, and the video editor's job would be to go through all our stuff and break things down and digest them into digestible clips with graphics and all this cool stuff. But also we would like to eventually do like pre-scripted, actual real shot, real deal videos that are actually like professionally done. So we talked to some few people, we've gotten some prices, and it's not cheap, but it's something that we hope to do. So that's something that we hope will get to happen. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. Share it around. Thanks for being patient, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. We're gonna have Katie Halper soon. I forget if it's gonna be Thursday or Friday, but she's gonna join us for a live stream to talk about the politics of the day. So that'll be fun. And check us out at Champagne Sharks on Twitter. Be good.